I just purchased this Omega from Chrono24 and it's the first time I've used this platform. Guys, I was a bit concerned. I want to share some things about my experience, but I also want to share why I purchased this particular Omega. So let's run the intro and let's check this thing out. I just purchased this red Omega Speedmaster Racing. I've had my eye on this watch for a while. Absolutely love this watch and I purchased it for a reason. There's a couple of things I want to share in this video. More than just a review, I actually want to share some points of why I bought this watch and also the fact of using Chrono24. This is the first time I've used that platform, and buying off a private seller, there was a lot of risks involved that I didn't know about, that I actually didn't know about. For argument's sake, if I was to get a fake watch, or whether they were going to deliver a broken watch or not as described, I wouldn't have really much to sort of fall back on as far as getting my money back or returning the watch. It's really, there's no obligation for the seller to actually take the watch back. And not knowing this, what I did was ask the right questions. I said to the gentleman that I was purchasing the watch from, first and foremost, it was from Australia. It's a local seller. It was from here, from New South Wales. And what I did was ask questions like, have you got the original box? Yes. Do you have the pictograms, the cards? Yes. Do you have the original receipt, the purchase receipt from where you bought it? He goes, yes. Matching serial numbers, no problems. Okay, great. Great. So having that as a safeguard, I thought, look, worst case scenario, when it gets delivered, if it doesn't have those things that he stated, well, then I've got some sort of a case to say to Chrono24, look, don't give him the money yet, don't release the funds, because I was promised this, and it hasn't got what he said. So, but just be aware of, guys, when you do buy from Chrono24, if you buy from a dealer, no issues, you'll get your money back. If something goes wrong, I think you've got 30 days to return it and get your money back, so that's pretty cool. But if you're buying private, yeah, there's a few things to know. You really got to know what you're buying. You're buying the seller and his reputation. So the watch itself, guys, the reason I purchased this particular watch is because, you know what, I was looking at the current catalog of Omega, and there's nothing that really satisfied me or sort of spoke to me. And if you go back just a couple of years, 3, 4, 5 years, there's some gems, there's some hidden gems, and for me, this is one of them. This is one of them. For you guys who have been following me for quite a while here on this channel, you probably already know I had one of these watches. I had the silver variant, the reverse panda. It was an ivory and black watch. Loved it, absolutely loved it. But honestly, guys, I made the mistake of selling it earlier on in the year, and I missed it. There's actually about 5 things that I missed from this particular watch, this model of watch, and I wanted to get it back. So this is and I'll share those things. First and foremost, what I missed of this watch was the rotor wobble. And you see, a lot of people will say, well, what are you talking about? That's a negative. Well, to some people, it's a negative. Rotor wobble, for those who don't know, this particular watch features the Valjoux 7753, or it's actually an Omega 3330 caliber. And originally its architecture is a Valjoux 7753, but very, very heavily modified. It's basically a coaxialized, free sprung, column wheel, silicon hairspring. So there's a lot of work that's gone into this motor under here, and because of that, the rotor itself, it only winds in one direction. In the opposite direction, it freely spins. What that means is you get a wobble or a highly rotating speed of that rotor. Some people hate it. For me, I loved it. I actually missed it on this watch because every time it occurred on my wrist, I would look down at my wrist and there'd be a gentle smile, because it reminded me what I've got on my wrist. A nice watch that I enjoy, and that's what brought me some pleasure, and I missed it of this particular model. But that's one of the things that I missed, was the rotor wobble. Number 2, I also missed the footprint. See, this watch comes in at 40 millimeters, and the footprint, the way it sits on my wrist at it being 7-inch, is fantastic. It actually fits beautifully. To me, that's a sublime experience. It's an absolutely perfect experience on the wrist. 40 millimeters, it's about 46 or 47 mil lug to lug. It comes in at 14.9 case height, but you know what? You really can't feel it. The watch is lovely. It seems to bury itself nicely on the wrist, and I enjoyed that. I enjoyed it on the other model, so I thought, I'm going to buy it again. And I bought this watch in red for a reason. I purchased it in red for a reason. You see, although the reverse panda version was really nice and I enjoyed it, this thing here also caught my attention back then, and I never pulled the trigger. I thought, nah, it's too loud. You know, should I, shouldn't I, should I? And I sort of regret that I didn't back then. And what I particularly liked about this colorway is the fact that the contrast between those hands, those subdials, and that red brings exceptional legibility. It's fantastic. For my eyes, visually, this works really well. Even that tachymetric scale has nice red accents that are basically color-coded to match that dial. So for me, I think design-wise, Omega's done an absolutely brilliant job here. So I had to go back several years to find this. It's not in the current catalog, and I remember seeing this back then. I thought, I'm going to grab one of these. This is what I want. This is the watch that I actually want to wear on my wrist in summer as a fun, racy, sporty watch. Now, if you look at the rubber strap on this particular watch, it's exceptional. It really is. It's fantastic. It's fitted beautifully. As you can see, the gaps in here, there's none. And you know what? The quality and the comfort on this is absolutely fantastic. Really nice and comfortable. The excess strap, as you can see, tucks in underneath, giving a beautiful streamlined look. So that's another thing that I wanted to try, because the previous version that I had the stainless steel bracelet, and although it was nice, I wanted to try something different, and that's where this comes in. But the watch itself, guys, for me, it's kicking a lot of goals. And like I said before, guys, the 5 things that I miss of this watch, one of them being the rotor wobble, that's me. That's me. It's the character of this particular watch. I liked it. Number 2, the footprint, fantastic. Number 3, that excellent movement. That caliber 3330 is lovely. It really is. And being based on a Valjoux 7753, you know what? It's not in-house or per se. And when it comes to servicing, this thing can be serviced pretty much anywhere. So, you know, that's one thing to bear in mind when we buy watches. A lot of us, we can't afford the latest and greatest. And when it comes to in-house movements, sometimes along with that comes the service costs. And with something like this, obviously, it's not that expensive to get serviced. It's pretty common. Now, the 4th thing that I liked about the watch that I had to get back was obviously its look, its overall look and a visual appeal. For me, like I said, I think Omega has done a really good job as far as design, the layout, the balance, and overall fun. You know when a watch is calling your name, you have to have it. You just have to have it, regardless whether it's 5 years old, 10 years old, whether it's a current model. It's irrelevant. It's saying something to you. It's speaking to you. Well, why not? And the last thing that I missed from the original version that I wanted to get back was that date. You see, that date is hidden in the 3rd subdial down the bottom at 6 o'clock. And I like that. As a design hue, as something that's been thought out, I like that. And I know they've done the date. Obviously, you have to adjust it from the side. Omega gives you a tool to adjust that because the Valjoux's obviously rotated. I get it. But I don't mind that. This is a tool, specific tool that I will input using the chronograph, using the watch as a tool, and putting some of my effort back into this. I enjoy that. I enjoyed it from the first watch. I'm enjoying it with this one as well. So they're the things that I missed. But there's basically one thing that I didn't miss from the original watch that this still has obviously got, and that's that crown. You see, that crown is, and I mentioned that in my review, it's really difficult to grab, it's really difficult to wind. It's just a small crown. It's really, ideally, they should have had something a little bit easier, but you know what? For me, that's an oversight. The rest of the watch ticks all the boxes. If that's the only problem that I've got with a watch, why not? Who cares? Irrelevant, seriously. And having an accuracy as this has, I've put this on the time grapher, it's kicking goals. It really has. I've actually had it dial up, dial down, crown up, crown down. It's been great. It's been really, really good. So I wanted to share these thoughts regarding why I purchased this watch. It's cool. With its 100 meters of water resistance, I don't have an issue getting it wet personally. You know, maybe coming out of the pool, as long as you don't press those pushers underwater, you really shouldn't have a problem. So it's a summary watch. It's affiliated with the Speedmaster family originally. So this was not so much a review per se, because I've done a review on this particular watch. It was more of my experience of why I wanted to buy this watch. There was 5 things that I missed of the original, and secondly, my experience with Chrono 24. So I hope you enjoyed that, guys. A new one to the collection. This is going to go long term. Sometimes it's good to actually buy and then sell a watch and then regret it and come back and buy it again, because you know what, then you know it's in there for the long haul. Let me know your comments, what you think, if you've had experience with Chrono 24, good, bad or indifferent. For me, I'm happy, it worked out okay. Another watch to the collection and it's here to stay. Thanks again guys, and we'll see you in the next video.